Okay, welcome to week 2, Web Technologies, ITO 225. This is Professor Abel. Just going to give you a quick run through of what we're going to do for week 2. Once again, this is our home page. You're all familiar with that. Check your announcements from time to time. And you can check your grades. And let's look at your module for this week. All right, week 2, styling with CSS. Let's go to our week 2 introduction. This week's lesson focuses on development and display of web page content, structure, and formatting. So last week, guys, you worked on basic HTML. So just some of the basic old school building blocks of a website. Probably included a little CSS. Today we're going to see how CSS allowed web designers and web developers to separate content and format, structure and content. So they can easily change the whole style, look, and behavior of a website without having to go line by line and by page, changing things. And that'll make more sense once you get into this project and read through your book this week. So make sure you read through this introduction. Don't forget your practice of presence reminders. And go through your textbook for this class. Read the specific pages. Take some notes on some of the main points. Some of those chapters may have some step-by-step practice. You can do that on your own if you'd like. Now this is for you. This is for your advantage, for you to learn and understand some of the different techniques and technologies. So you do not have to turn this in to me. This will be something for you to do on your own, but I highly encourage you to read those specific pages. And if you have time, try some of those practices. Also, there's some required reading that will connect to some of those different things we're learning this week. We're doing mostly the technology side, but also some of the design side. How can we be concerned with the looks of things? All right, so there's an article about the psychology of color, how to reach a target audience, and some more recommended reading, chapter 4, if you'd like to. It's up to you. Once again, you can go to LinkedIn to some of the tutorials there for more in-depth learning of these topics. That's on your own. If you'd like to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. It would be beneficial. Optionally, you can also go to CSS at W3 Schools. Sort of the standard step-by-step tutorials on there also. You're free to check those out to learn a little bit more on your own. Not required, but it might be a good idea. Next, we look at a few different topics related to web design, web development, and we start to consider color. How does color work? We learn about the psychology of color, some color theory basics, and the effects of color in design. There's a cool link here to a website that will help you devise, create your own, generate your own color scheme that you may want to use for your websites or any other work that you do. Decorating your living room. Just kidding about that. Okay, but very useful tool. Read through that information. Next, our next project, our next big project, the out-of-book project for this weekend, next week, we'll be creating a movie website for reviews and previews of movies. So cool little website we'll get to make using HTML and CSS, some of the basics of CSS. It'll be a fixed website, then we'll eventually get on to the movable resizing websites. So I like to give a few examples of some different websites that may inspire you with how they're laid out, how they look, the styles they have, and some of the functionality of those websites. Most of these are pretty familiar websites, but go ahead and take a look at those if you'd like for inspiration for our next big project. And then our first discussion question for this week, target audience. How can we develop our web-based technology to reach specific target audiences? What things can we keep in mind? So this is just a quick practice of looking at different websites that are basically selling the same thing, advertising the same thing, presenting the same information, but in several different styles. So just something for you to think about as we proceed through this first or the second project. And there's links to how these websites look today. And here's some older ones that are pretty cool. Taco Bus from Tampa, Florida. a small local chain, very small local chain that actually started in a taco bus. Tijuana Flats, Moe's, which you're probably familiar with. All right, so you can definitely see how they use different styles to reach their target audience. So this is a quick discussion about that. And then we will create a fixed layout website using CSS. And this will walk you through all the deliverables, what's required, what the challenge is. Also shows you where you can find some images. You can take your own images for this website or find them online. Now here's a layout of how you should probably create these pages for this project. I give you some schematics for those, some wireframing for those. But don't forget, I have more examples for you guys to look at. For this one will be movie website layout, so you can have fun with it. Select the movies you like, find images you like. But we also have the important step-by-step tutorials. If you follow along with these YouTube tutorials that I've created, you should be able to get through this project and get a good grade. If once in a while you run into a challenge or a problem or get stuck, don't get upset, don't get flustered, just go back up the video and try it again. And sometimes if you're towards the beginning of the project, sometimes you can just start all over with that project. Or contact me through email and even text in case of emergencies. And we can set up a person-to-person virtual meeting online if you'd like. Once again, here's some of the examples. And that's basics of week 2, getting into CSS, thinking a little bit more about how our products, our web design technologies will look. Once again, you guys have been doing great. You did great for week 1. I saw read some really awesome discussions and some great projects. And continue to do your best. Feel free to contact me at any time.